Okay. Here we are once again. This particular broadcast will bring to you the 3 steps of co-creation. My volume's a little bit too high. I have to turn it back down. But I'm going to go ahead and play this so I can determine how loud things are. Oh, this track reminds me of something. Glad I did this. Helped me to be reminded. Put it on the list. List of what, you might ask? Well, the list of things that I'm doing. And all those things can be found in Patreon. I will refer to them here on YouTube, but Patreon is where you're going to be able to find them. And for those who are interested, I am going to be doing one-on-ones, meaning video, direct, personal, also in a group, for those who wish to do it in a group situation. And this is going to be in-depth study and application. To what, you might ask? Well, it's in context to what this video stream, or should I say this live stream, is about today, which is 3 steps to co-creation. And it can be applied to many things, meaning many different approaches to it, which I will address within this particular live stream. And I'll be here for a while for those who decide to show up. I know I don't do this every day, and I know it's very competitive out there because people are always doing a lot of stuff. And however, my stuff is not information based. My stuff is based on having intellectual property being developed in the process, which requires a lot more contemplation and waiting for it to show up. Meaning I have to develop it, and once it's at a certain stage for me to be able to present it in a way that allows for the individual who is listening to it to make sense of it, first of all, number 1. Number 2, to be able to apply it and be able to practice it in a practical way, very coherently. All right, so again, there's no reason for me coming on here every day. For what? You know, there's a whole lot of things going on right now, obviously, within this world. A lot of activity, a lot of, let's just say a lot of encounters taking place, right? Now, for me, it's been for the longest time a non-concern of mine to want to connect with other beings outside of what's happening here, boots on the ground. And I've said this some years back, and I did in fact, I probably should do a live stream based on the article that I had written about 4 or 5 years ago called Boots on the Ground. It's about our responsibility and accountability that we have to one another here. And for those who are working towards the betterment of all life, for the benefit of all life advancing, that's my personal concern, or this is what I want to be involved in. I'm not interested in what's happening, within the so-called ET situation and all that. That matters not to me. I understand the universal structure and what and who we are and the whole thing to begin with. So those things are not relevant to me. What's relevant is what we're doing here. And for those who can work together to accomplish that in a peaceful, co-creative way, right? Through respect and honor, and giving honor where honor is due, and a sense of sanctification and purity. That is a process, and that is, at least from my perspective, what matters. You can go other places, obviously, and find out what's going on, at least hear what other people are saying, which doesn't really mean a whole lot if it's not your own personal experiences that you're having, because what you're doing and what you're, experiencing is your process of it's your process of advancing. Excuse me, 3 times in a row. 3's a charm. Try to clear my throat. I had yogurt, and dairy doesn't really like me. I like dairy, but nobody's showing up yet. Well, that's okay. That's all right. That's fine. Back on track to what I was talking about. So what's, meaningful, at least from my perspective at my old age, is the accountability and responsibility that we have towards one another here, boots on the ground, instead of looking up at the sky, chasing all the phenomenon and all these other things. Those things can be, entertaining, I suppose, or whatever. But the point is, going back to the article that I had written about 5 years ago called Boots on the Ground, has to do with the accountability and responsibility that we have towards one another, and not chasing things, not chasing the phenomenon, not looking for all this other stuff, and looking to be connecting on the level of ambassadorship for this world. We are the world. The world is made up of consciousness, and the consciousness that can agree and walk within a co-creative manner is what matters. And I'm referring obviously to for the benefit of all life, with wisdom, with clarity, and with compassion and love, fueling the whole thing, right? There's balance to all of this. And that falls into the category, obviously, as the uncommon man and uncommon woman being the way showers here. And there's a lot of them out there. And they're doing their work, and they're doing what they're doing. And what I'm doing isn't any better or less than anybody else. And that includes you. Okay? So my suggestion is to co-create, not to follow, right? I don't mean that in a disrespectful way, nor am I trying to detract you from what you're doing and what your path has been. I'm just saying there comes a time where you have to realize, which one does, that it's about you and what you're doing and what you have to offer in a state of sovereignty. And that sovereignty that you become aware of begins to maturate in regard to who and what you truly are. Meaning you begin to reintegrate, for a lack of terms, I'll use reintegrate or integrate, should I say, that who and which you are. Boots on the ground, which is the monad. You are not part of, you are that. So, the personality, the ego, the identity here within this station of identity is something by which you are working through. It is not something that you are, but you are experiencing yourself as it, and you have, which I come to understand a long time ago, a symbiotic relationship with this vessel that you're in. Okay? Is this a bit too much? I don't know. Not for some. All right, so I'm just going to go ahead and dive into this. Like I said, I don't do this every day, and there's really no reason to do it every day because, as I had already mentioned, there's a lot of things that goes deep, and it becomes a personal application. And again, if you wish to be able to do, after listening to this is something that you want to do one-on-one, my services are available. I can't do it for free. If I could, I certainly would, but at this point, I cannot. And it is what it is, and it's important to be clear and straightforward within your answers, being yes or no concerning everything that you do, so everything is understood, not just with yourself, but everybody else that may be involved. Well, thank you for being here, Rachel. Thank you for your input and your comments. If those who may be listening, if you could sign in to the chat or subscribe, that would be good. And just let me know what's going on with you, you know. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and jump into this. Again, within the title, as you may see, it's about co-creation and 3 steps. So what are those 3 steps? Number 1, as posted within the description, is intention. Your intention is everything, and after we walk away from this, hopefully you'll understand how important that is. And the intention breeds creation, or you can refer to it as impregnation, okay? Then the final step, which is manifestation, the giving birth, if you will, of that creation. So thought, intention, right? So let's look at the word intention. Intention, in this case, is a thoughtful course of action, right? Planning, the intention that is of having planned the action, planned out the route, is the context of intention. You know where you're going. The reason why you're doing it is very clear. It's not willy-nilly. It's not reactionary. It's not just doing things for the sake of doing it. It's planned action. It's knowing exactly what you're doing and why. And this is the reason why I do what I do in the way that I do it, so that those things are completely clear with you, because your intention is everything. It's what gets things started and is what results in the finishing of the creation manifestation aspect of that. So while you have this commitment, because that's what's part of that intention, it's settled, through the feeling, because your feeling now at this point is very important, that you connect with it in a deep sense of feeling. Now, the feeling that I'm referring to falls into a few categories. Now, here on Earth, and the way the body is and how it reacts and responds, impulsively and everything else. It's about bringing that under a bridle, right? So that you can control it and be able to most effectively direct that energy. But the way that you feel about it is extremely important. It's important to be passionate about the way you feel about it, but very clear. Okay, have a lot of whatever adjective you can come up with in regard to the way that you would feel towards something that you're excited about, but have it under a controlled controlled condition. So intends, we look at it as a transitive verb to have in mind as a purpose or goal, right? A plan. And then to direct the mind onward, to stay the course, right? To proceed on that course of action. All right? So that would be the verb response, or the other words, action behind that is having a very purposeful goal, a plan, and to direct that mind, again, controlling that feeling that's related to it, and being very clear about where you're going with it, and then to be able to proceed on a course of action. All right, so what I'm doing at this point, one of the things I'm looking to do, and it takes time to be able to do it, is setting forth a course of action. In other words, a plan that you can follow, that you can align yourself to in order to maintain your intention very clearly. So briefly, I'm not going to go into too much depth about it today, but I'm going to take a look at the universal co-creation process through the universal tones. Okay? And you'll know what I'm talking about once I get into it, for those who are new to this. But this takes time to be able to do. Planning a course of action takes time, and especially when we're talking about something that's on a universal level, and we're talking about structure, and we're talking about, geomathematical architecture, knowing that vibration, the sound that comes from the vibration is what holds the structure together, which forms it. So it's important to understand the tones or the tonal frequency in relationship to that. Understanding how it functions within location in regard to the structure. So let's take a look at creation. Everybody knows what that is, but let's just briefly kind of just go over that. Creation, in this case, being the action or process of bringing something into existence through design, right? Or the act of bringing one's world into ordered existence through design. And then we have manifestation. In this case, is an event. Now, we're talking about personal as well as collective. Collective would be those who you connect with on a co-creative level, right? You're walking with the same intention, and then you come to an agreement with one another and continue to walk in that agreement, ongoing. It's not something that happens just immediately, at least not here on Earth. Okay, so in this case, again, manifestation is an event, an action, the object that clearly shows or embodies the effect of the intention. All right? So now you know why I've been saying, for those who've been listening to this channel, listening to me for the period of time that I've been on here, I've been referring to as intention being everything. This is the reason why, okay? It begins and ends with that, always. And it's important for that to be clear. Otherwise, you're just pretty much entertaining yourself and perhaps entertaining others. And I guess that's okay, but that's not what I'm referring to, so I have no true interest in anything that's outside of what's happening here, boots on the ground, among people, uncommon men, uncommon women, for the purpose of working together in a co-creative manner for the benefit of all life. And that takes all the effort that we have. We don't need assistance from outside. We just need to put on some big boy and some big girl pants and start walking according to our authority and understanding who and truly who and what we really are. So what I'm going to be doing in regard to Patreon is I'm going to offer up videos going into depth about this that will be found within the shop. That's the SHOP category within Patreon. There needs to be, for a couple reasons, material value placed on it, because what I have run into here over the years, and this is something that I experienced way before the internet and when I was involved with ministry, is people put value on things when you place value on them. Otherwise, they dismiss it, or they'll just run off and do something else, and they don't really see what's there, or they ignore it. So first and foremost, now I'm going to speak for myself personally, because that's what really matters here for me, is I need to place value on myself in what I do, because I know the value of it, and therefore I need to set the bar for that. Again, value. I've run into, not to harp on this or anything, but I run into people throughout the years that will have something of great value before them and they won't know what it is. Not because they're ignorant, is because it's given to them for free. And because it's given to them for free, my experience has been across the board on this. Now, not everybody treats it this way, but the majority do. When it's given to them for free, they don't see the value of it. It's like a story that they hear and they no longer remember it after a couple hours or a day or whatever it is that they may have heard that story, depending on what the story is. It's treated like entertainment, and it just moved from one thing to another. And so you have to, promote what you do or what you understand as being valuable by putting, unfortunately, it is what it is, putting a price on it. Okay? And never undermine what that is. Within your spirit, feel what you need to do concerning that, but you have to make a statement, and you have to proclaim it in a way that's clear and unmovable, so people understand what you're doing and why you're doing what you're doing. I had failed to do that because I used not to agree with that. For, moral reasons, I guess you could say. But even though I was doing that, I know this is not the world that I'm in, because there's very few that embrace that. Very, 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 very few. Most people are indoctrinated into certain things, but then again, there's a respect towards that, of which is considered to be value and the time that's put into it. And this takes time for me to do. I can now actually teach this one-on-one and help people and instruct them in the process of this. And that's what's required, at least for me. And so there must be value placed on it. So one example, the universal pathway that is paved through our connection is through sound and light. That's the structure, Simplistically, sound and light can be referred to. So the beginning of this is looking at the point of all union, which is known as the unici, also known as the ekasha. And I use that and I break it down in 3 tones because it represents 3 things that are unified, tri-unity as one. And this Ekasha is known as the source seed code. Okay, so this code carries the photosonic mathematical program of the primal sound fields. The primal sound fields is the manifestation template from which things begin, or known as the cosmic manifestation template. Okay? And this code carrying this mathematical program of the primal sound fields, or the cosmic manifestation template, and it's bridging the source seed rhythms, which is frequency, pulse, back to the source. It's like an echo, and it comes back, right? So the in which the in part of it is the intention, to go back to the 3 steps of manifestation. So that's the intention, then creation, then manifestation, and then it comes back like this. Breathing. This is known as, or referred to as, the in and out breath of God. So, okay. We can go into more in depth concerning that for those. I'm not looking right now at if anybody's checking in or commenting in the comment section. I will come back to that later. Right now, I just need to go through this, and so I can maintain a pace. All right, so the Ekasha balances, okay, the electromagnetic forces. The core code of the Ekasha is called the Rushe, from which the center of it we have what is referred to as the Mane window, from which the pulse initiates. And for those who are interested, I would recommend going to the playlist that I created called the Cosmic Shorts. The Cosmic Shorts, okay? And these are really short videos, but it breaks this stuff down. I think the longest video, in fact, I know the longest video is 5 minutes. The shortest video is under 2 minutes. So they're very short, but they're packed full of information. And I'm not quite sure how many videos are there. I initially was going to continue to develop that and add more to it, but there wasn't enough interest for people. And those who were interested in it said they wanted longer, videos. And so I just stopped doing it. All right. It's been an uphill, path in regard to being here on YouTube. I'm here now 16 years. All right. Yeah. So, anyhow, just as a side note, I can't do what people want me to do. I have to do what I'm intended to do, because I only have so much ability and energy to be able to do, and it has to be the right thing. So it's not based on what other people. I have to develop what I have to develop for the same reason. For those who are getting into this for themselves and they're becoming of service, you have to be able to give what you have to give and be not distracted. Let not your eyes and ears be swayed from your path, because it will set you back and you'll start questioning yourself, and confusion will set in. So stay on track with what you're doing, because what you have to do, you know what that is. And once you become inspired to begin to do it, and it doesn't matter what it is, stay on that path, because it will lead you where you need to go. So again, this is a geometric mathematical program. So we're talking about dimensional structure that holds the scalar wave interactions with the planetary shields. And shields is simply the harmonic dimensional bands or consciousness bands structure. We're in a harmonic structure. So hence is the reason why I refer to this as being sound and light, because that makes it simple, but it branches out into various aspects of how it functions. Okay, so these being the mathematical frequency corresponding, or frequencies that are corresponding to the underlying structure of this universal, or our universal multidimensional system. So again, the Akasha is the source seed code. It's what balances the electromagnetic forces. This is from, again, to go back, keep repeating myself here, if you go back to what I mentioned concerning checking out the cosmic shorts, this will give you an overview of what this is. Okay? All right, so I'm going to come back here and take a look at what's being written. I have to back up and see what you're writing here, Rachel. Okay. All right. All right. Oop. Start back here. See who else came along. Okay, Basie. I'm not going to even try. You're from Sweden. Hi. I'm not quite sure the name that you're using, or yeah. So anyhow, all right. Let's see here. Takes a bit for me to focus because the screen's a bit away from me. Yeah, it's important to have equality within energy, shared within co-creation. Definitely. And if it's off, that's a good time to just kind of go into a neutral state until you can reassess what's going on before you proceed any further with it. It's important for everybody to be on the same page in the same way. That's the accountability and responsibility that I was referring to in regard to the article that I had written called Boots on the Ground, which you can find actually on my website. I think I'm going to do this brings a reminder back to me. I had mentioned to Daphne that would probably be a good subject matter to use as a live stream topic, and I think that's probably what I'll be doing next. Again, for those, before I continue to read your comments here, for those, it's very important for me to be able to continue this work, share, subscribe, and become a member of Patreon. And please, if you can, become a paid member, which is, the minimum is $5 a month, so that's less than a cup of coffee, for a month. And then you can get access to a lot of stuff that's there. And without the finances coming in for me to be able to just cover the bases, I can't continue to do this work not in this way. All right. And also, I am looking to go on tour, and that's very important to me, especially at this stage in my life. It's time for me to get back into the world to where I can have a more personal effect and be able to establish other things that it's been purposed within my heart to do, to be able to have a foundation through a particular, what I'm referring to as a service or ministry, okay? And I have done, created most of the things that I need in order to be able to get that going, but everything's a process, as you well know or should know, and it takes time, and I'm at the latter part of this incarnation. So what I do, whatever I do it at, or when I'm doing it, it has to really matter. I'm not looking at my life before me. Everything is pretty much behind me at this stage, and what I have left in front of me is a short period. And as the body and the vessel gets older here, it's just not so easy to work with, and things are just not the same. So what matters for me is to be able to spend my time towards things that are is working towards having those things happen, because I want to leave something. When I do leave here, I want to leave things here in good hands for other people to be able to continue it. So this is my life's work, and so it's important to be able to continue to do this, and financially supporting what's going on here is crucial for me to be able to do that. It doesn't take a whole lot, but it would be great to have a whole lot of people doing it, supporting it by small, donations and so on and so forth. And that will really help things considerably. It'll allow me to be able to do things that I need to do. There's a whole lot involved with that. If anybody's interested in knowing more about what that is on a personal level, and you want to become involved in it in some way to be able to support what that is, you can contact me privately, okay? You can find virtually on every video here, you'll find within the description, you'll find a way to be able to contact me through email, okay? And there's other ways as well, like through Patreon. You can message me directly through Patreon. But if you're interested in that, you can contact me privately, and we'll see if there's something there that can work out. Okay? But again, please subscribe, share, become a member of Patreon. Again, like I said, without belaboring this, but there's a whole lot involved with all this. There's other things that I am planning to do and looking to work with Daphne concerning. And there's just a whole lot required, and we can use all the help that we can get. Okay? All right, so this has been coming to focus for me too when it's equal. Okay, I already went over that. It's what I've struggled with. Yeah, it's a process, Rachel. It's an ongoing thing, and yeah, in terms of money, and which money is energy, right? And there's been a conditioning here to, there's been a restraint and there's been control, but we need to break out of that. And one of the ways to go about breaking out of that is to just lean forward and not pay attention to your circumstances. I mean, you know what's there, but don't be mindful of them. And this is what I've had to do for years now. Has it been easy? In some cases it has, because it's been easy for me to be able to let go. And in some cases it's not. It hasn't been. It's been extremely difficult because there's been a lot of other things surrounding that to compound the condition, going through illness, being hospitalized 7 times within a year and a half, just things and being attacked. It goes on and on and on, and it's a personal thing. But know that if you let go of this and take hold, because you got to let go of something in order to take hold of something else. And in order to take hold of who you are in regards, say, I am monad. You're not you're not a soul trying to find its way back to source. You are source that has temporarily, conditionally decided to experience separation. Okay? But it doesn't change the fact of who you really are. And when you embrace that, there really isn't any lack. Now, is it a challenge? It certainly has been a challenge, and this is what you're referring to. Certainly. It's been a challenge. But it's a process, right? It is a process. You have to let go in order to take hold. So it's sometimes it's within the body. It's scary to let go because you don't, it reacts a lot. The vessel, this is a symbiotic relationship with this thing, right? Sorry, I didn't mean to call it thing, but this vessel that I'm in, it's a symbiotic relationship. It reacts. It has cellular memory. It has the propensity to, either fight or run away. It's impulsive. And like this body, similar to that of a horse that you are using to ride and be your, your form of transportation, you have to bring it under control. And that's the process. And within that process, meditation, however, and which way you do it, meditation has become kind of a weird new age concept, and it's kind of floaty out there. It's like closing your eyes and going into a lotus position. That's not what meditation means at all. Meditation simply means focus, being able to focus inward. And you can do that in a complete waking state, walking around talking to people. It's something that's practiced. It's as an example, you can have a reminder on you, physical objects that reminds you that I am monad, to where every time you feel like in your pocket these items that represent that, you touch it, it reminds you, and then you speak it internally. You can speak it outwardly, but it doesn't really matter, because inward, outward, same thing. But the focus is that you're being reminded of that, and so you're constantly going back to that state of awareness. And if you do that enough, you find yourself you become that very awareness, right? So it is a process. So however it is that what you do, you bring that into it, and you are reintegrating. I use the word reintegrating because, or you can use the word integration, but it's reintegrating because we always have been that. It's just the lack of awareness. So the practice brings, through process, brings that awareness now where it becomes boots on the ground reality, and you're walking in that space. And again, that's an ongoing thing. It's like walking in agreement with somebody concerning co-creation. You're working towards a manifestation through intention, and creating and holding that space with one another. It's an ongoing process. Even after it is manifested, it maintains an ongoing process, because that's how things work. That's how the state of being of who we are. Consciousness is not a given thing. It is something that decides to continue. All right? So these things are very important. Letting go in order to take hold. And that's a process. So however you go about doing it, for those who want more assistance concerning that, one-on-ones, or counseling perhaps, whatever term you want to use for this, to be able to help assist you in that process, and so that you're clear about what you're doing. Again, your intention has to be clear in order for it to be maintained. You have to have a plan and be able to carry it out. I am available. So again, for those who may be interested in working co-creatively with one another for the purpose, for the benefit of all life, through the reality of what and truly what and who we are. You want to support, go into Patreon, become a paid member, $5, less than a cup of coffee each month. You're willing, if you can, and you have the ability to be able to, pay more, that would be great. Anything is extremely useful to me, because it's the way it's been. Okay? All right. I don't want to get too personal about this publicly, and which I've done in the past, and I have regretted doing that. But if anybody's interested, they can talk to me directly, and I'll be open about it. I'll be transparent. So oops. Trying to read this and it keeps moving around. Hi, Galactic High Priestess. I haven't seen you for a while. All right, it's good to see you. Good to see you here. Thank you for showing up. Appreciate that. As far as the donation thing, you can find it. I prefer not it to be through YouTube because it takes like 2 months and before I can ever get it through YouTube. Preferably through it'll be listed within the description. It's not in the description right now, but after the stream or any other video, you could find it where you can go through Zelle and as a direct deposit to my bank account, which is the best way to do it because there's no fees or anything involved with that. Or you can go through PayPal, which I use. I did use Venmo, which did the same thing as Zelle, but I had issues with them in the past, so it became complicated, and I decided to go ahead and not use that anymore. But yeah, if you go into any other previous video description, you'll find information concerning that, a way to be able to financially donate. Okay, so thank you so much for that. Appreciate it. There's Daphne. Hey, Daphne. Okay, Rachel, the struggle I have discovering what I want to do here and seeking higher guidance. Well, can I ask you a question, Rachel? What is it that you're passionate about? What is that personally you, without anybody's influence necessarily, have a desire for? Because the gifts that you have is something that you've developed throughout lifetimes within manifest reality. Okay? Those are yours. Okay? And my encouragement here would be to find the simple things that you lean towards, that you have affections for, right? And just contemplate those things for a while, and then you'll realize, oh, I like doing this. This is the thing that I like doing. Then start doing it, and then it's a process where you can start being able to make it something that you're sharing. Okay? Yeah. So it can be a struggle when we're searching. No offense when I say this, but because out of experience I can say this. When we start searching outside ourselves because we don't feel like we're more than enough, there's something that you have to offer, as well as anybody else here listening, what they have that nobody else can give, because and the way that you're able to give it and the uniqueness behind that makes it very, very special in that regard. So nobody can give what you have to give, you know. As an example for myself, if I recognize those things in you, I can encourage you to say, look at this or pursue this just so you can see it. But I certainly couldn't tell you what to do because that's something you already know to do. But myself or anybody else that could see it or to encourage is to get you to be able to see it for yourself, And like I said, again, what you have and what you have to share, what you have to give, what you have to offer is unique. Just like everybody else has what they have that is unique. And it's just walking in that space. One of the greatest places for that awareness to begin to come to the surface, so to speak, is knowing that you are source. You are the source. You are an individuated expression, experiencing self differently, and it's intended. There's no mistake. Okay? Doesn't make it easy, but there's no mistake. And once that starts to kind of build up and move out of the picture and you understand that you are the monad boots on the ground, there's a confidence and a clarity with your intention behind what you're doing that you don't need approval and you don't require giving approval for what you're doing. If your intention is from the state of the divine, from within you, then whatever you do is perfect. Perfect. And it doesn't require approval. It's important to have people encourage. I need encouragement. I've been encouraging myself for years, you know. But it's very important to understand that you already have it within you. You just need to recognize it and perhaps develop it, right? Because it's a process. Everything that I have developed for myself, it's an ongoing thing. You know, especially the things that are very physical, like playing music and instruments. I was going over songs last night, and my voice was pretty good. I was like, okay, cool. I like when I'm able to sing and not have any issues with it. But my hands started to really hurt, and my fingers and everything. It's physical. It's a physical thing. So it requires ongoing practice, you know, to keep things going, you know. And it's like this applies to everything, really. It's a process. If you like writing things down and then having self-reflection about what you're writing about, that's something that you need to continue to do. And you need to do it on a regular basis. And the more that you do these things that you feel to do, don't wait on it. When you do it and then you practice doing it, then you want to do it more. You just find yourself doing it more and more. And then you find yourself creating places of convenience for yourself, making it convenient for you to be able to do these things in situations that you wouldn't necessarily have done that if you were to think to do it. But because it's become a part of your practice, you find yourself doing it in virtually every situation in some way, whether it's just through contemplation, next step, writing it down, or recording it, you know, then transcribing it later. Whatever it is, it's a process. But the important thing is to begin. So lean towards your affections, the things that you feel driven to do. You just feel it within you. You just want to do it, you know. There's been many times for myself, there's a lot of things I've been wanting to do and I could do. But I would think to myself, where am I going to go with this? Where's it going to fit? Where's it going to be? How is it going to fit into this world? It's so different from everything else. You know, it's not the mentality of the world. It's not the world's consciousness. How am I going to fit this into it? And being by yourself, you can do that where you spin, right? And so it's important for somebody to come along and say, don't worry about that. Just do it. It'll find its way. Just keep doing it. That's all that I can really offer to you. Is just find it and continue to do it. So find your affections, the things that you connect with, and then nurture them, practice them, you know. Yeah, well, that's being here in these fields, in this state, in this world, under these conditions. That's the challenge, and you decided to have that challenge. So know that belongs to you. You know, it's not us against them. It's really not. You know, we're not a victim, and I'm not implying that you're thinking that. But I'm just saying that out loud. We're not a victim. Okay. We again emphasize we are source that is playing hide and go seek from itself. You know, we're experiencing self differently, purposely. This is for the perpetuation of creation, to be able to create in a way that you could never, ever do it under any other circumstances. It's applying restraint and conditions and limitations purposely so that we can move to the next stage. Bring something new, right? Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to go back over what I'm, initially what I had posted within the title, and kind of briefly go over what I'm going to make or provide within Patreon. Now, this again is going to be within the shop. It's going to be an in-depth application to the universal tones. First thing that I'm working on here now is the application for the first, the first thing that I'm going to post in there, which is going to consist of two different things, but they're related. They're two different parts of the same thing, which is the universal tones of co-creation. That's what we find in KS, and I redid the thing. I rewrote the music for it, and I had created the outline and broke it down harmonically, what is taking place in regard to the structure in relationship to the tonal aspect of structure. And so it brings more clarity, brings more focused intention behind what you're doing. It's not just singing tones. You understand exactly what you're singing and why. Again, intention, creation, manifestation, 3 steps. And all these things have to be within that particular order. So you'll find this within everything that you're doing. You'll find these things, how they correlate. It's these 3 steps. Because you are a creator, not just a co-creator. Okay? You are the source. Remember, the individuation of the source, experiencing self differently. So this is the way things work. Consciousness is not a given. You're making the choice to continue. Okay? And this is an ongoing process of expansion. You can have a point of rest. That point of rest I would refer to as the pause breath. But there's always a process of creation taking place. So intention, a planned route, right? Knowing where you're going, why you're doing it, and for what reason. And then you create that pathway. In other words, you're like impregnating yourself. I'll just use that because it becomes quite intimate, especially for you gals, right? There's an impregnation of that intention, which is known as creation. Okay? And then you have the manifestation of that, which is the event, which you can refer to as giving birth to it. Manifestation. And so, in regard to the universal tones of co-creation, which I've covered before, I'm going to go into the in-depth aspect of this, okay, which I've started to touch in on here, and it goes through all those steps in relationship to the structural layout within that particular song, okay, or song, and the understanding of what you're singing and why you're singing, and relationship to you are the creator in the process, facilitating. Right? 3 steps: intention, creation, manifestation. And then the second half of that will be, I'm going to provide how to play it for those who play musical instruments, or even if you don't play the musical instrument. I'm going to go over it with a cappella, okay, so that you can sing it without having instrument. For those that are interested in having an instrument or play an instrument, such as guitar, I'm going to utilize guitar, okay? I'm going to utilize piano, okay? And I might add some other things later on, but I'm going to focus specifically on guitar and piano, and I'm going to have those as separate courses. The guitar will be separate from the piano because they equally take a certain amount of time up to be able to do that. And so it's going to be a separate video, so I'll have that separate. And then perhaps add more to that through other instrumentation for those that are interested. But I will, at the end of the video for going through and breaking down the language, the tonal frequencies in regard to the universal structure, I will, at the end of it, do an a cappella singing of it, and be able to assist you with that for those who wish and would just like to sing it. And that way you can take the context of what's being said all together, and it will have much more meaning for you. And again, the intention that you hold is everything. Okay? So that's what that's all about for me, and has been for the longest time. It's important to know what you're doing and why you're doing it. Right? To have clear command over your purposeful action. Well, thank you, Rachel. I really appreciate it. Thanks. All right. What time we got going here? 12:40. What time did I get started here? I think I've been on here for about 40 minutes, maybe a little bit longer. I'm not sure. Maybe an hour. Give me a second here. I'm thinking whether or not I should kind of go over some of this stuff. I mean, far as any more of what I've started to touch in on. I think I'm going to go ahead and save it for the video. Okay? What I'll do, or look to try to do, is that I'll create like a little ad for some of this stuff, and so you briefly understand, one can briefly understand what it's about. That way they can make the choice whether or not they want to go and purchase the video or videos. Also, I have my book there. I would like to be able to update my book. It took me 3 weeks to write and publish it. Everything at breakneck speed. And looking back at it and listening to it, there's certain things I would want to change at this point. I'm not the same person as I was. And plus, when I did write the book, it was done very quickly. And I just put it out because I felt like I needed to put something out. And it's not that I necessarily disagree with some of the things that I had said within it. I would just prefer to make certain things more clear and perhaps change certain things that I would see at this point as not really necessary. And, but that's something, perhaps I will do. I don't know. Right now, what I'm doing is what seems to be where I'm led to do. So that's my focus, and that is on these videos. Also, I'll be putting together a lot of other things in relationship to what I'm going to be doing, which is music. But there's going to be teaching with the music. It's really about mirroring what I'm doing through the sound. And this is the reason why it's so important for me to be able to go into the real world where things through direct connection can be made on a electromagnetic level. We're in this domain that we're in right now, this digital domain that we're in right here. The primal life force currents run differently through this. And what I understand about the digital domain and what I understand about the analog domain in regard to experience can be summarized in this way. Think of the analog as going into a forest, physically going there through the body and walking into it, and you smell the smells, you can touch, you can taste, you can feel, right? That's analog. Now, digital is to take a picture of it or take a video of it. And that's the same way in which things operate through the internet, because it's a digital domain. Okay? It's not the same thing. Not even close. And for anybody who has went out and experienced within the woods or at some place that you're just really connected to what's going on in your surroundings and you're really appreciating the experience, and then you take a picture because, or whatever, take a video or a picture of it because you want to be able to capture that experience. You want to record that experience. But when you look back at it, you immediately understand this is not the same thing. And that's how it is. So it's important for me, because I do know this on a very intimate level, it's important to be out there doing it. So when I'm singing and I'm playing or whatever I'm doing in regard to what I have to give, it's going to be experienced in a way that it can't be experienced through the internet. The internet's a great tool, but it's not a substitution for the real thing. If you understand what I mean. What's unfortunate, and I'll just add this and leave it alone, what is unfortunate is that there has been generation now that has grown up within the internet and it has become the reality, and they have substitute this for the real thing. And hopefully that changes. But for me, in my household, this awareness of the between the two is very clear. So it's important for me to connect on that level. And in order to, again, like I said before, and I'm talking openly about this, for what I have intended to leave behind here, and to be able to create a ministry so that there is a base from which all that can be worked out from. And when I'm gone, those who, so to speak, inherit the legacy because of their co-creative connection to it can continue the work that has begun. But there's a lot here to do, and it requires a lot of energy and a lot of focus and a lot of time. And I'm kind of running out of those things. So all the help that I can get for this, people, would be extremely helpful and important. And I'm grateful and thankful for those who have done that, who have reached out and helped me in my time of need. I thank you greatly. I don't really know how to put it in words other than the way that I just expressed it, because it kind of goes beyond words. But thank you so much. It's all been part of the process in order for things to be able to be shared on a co-creative level for the change and for the benefit of all life in the true divine manner from which it was originally intended. Okay, folks, I was going to go over some of this outside of what I've done. But it's so lengthy, and I really need to put it in a video, and I need to focus my energy in regard to doing that, so that it can be available in a very clear way. So I'm going to go ahead and leave that alone and look to prepare that for when I'm able, and have that in Patreon as soon as I'm able. So yeah, we're all in on this together, differently. Yes, we're uniquely individuated. And we're unique specifically outside of any manifestation, design, any creation, any reality field. But What binds us is the core aspect of our true nature, which allows us to be what you would refer to as being one. And I prefer not to use the word law in regard to that. It is just a given. That part is a given. Okay? At least that's the way I like to look at it. Alrighty, folks, I'm going to go ahead and sign off here. Thank you, everybody, for stopping by, and thank you, Rachel, for voicing yourself and sharing. Thank you, Daphne, for being here and always a constant, ongoing support. You're amazing. Thank you so much. Love you. And Galactic High Priestess, thank you so much for dropping by. Thank you. Appreciate that. It was really nice to see you again. And for all those who are listening, it would have been nice for you to be able to sign in and say hi or something. But, thank you for stopping by. I appreciate it. Again, for those that are interested in what I'm talking about, you can contact me privately. Okay, you can either contact me through my website, which will have my email address, or you can find that after I'm done with this stream, I'll have the information within the description so that you can contact me directly. As far as support financially, there will be information for that. Being able to become a member of Patreon, that'll be available also within the description. Everything that you really need will be found within the description. And please share. If we can, let's see if we can get this within the next month. Let's see if we can get this up to 10,000 subscribers. I've been on here for 16 years. I think it's way past due at this point in regard to having, at least 10,000 subscribers. That seems to help in some cases as far as becoming more exposed or brought to the attention. But it's important for you to like this video. I like everything that I have. Because this is the design of YouTube in regard to algorithm, the comments that you make, everything. It's not just within the stream here. If you can go to the video after after I'm done with the stream, and you can comment within that. Just say, hey, it doesn't matter what you say. Just commenting, it helps the algorithm and helps it to be able, whatever I'm doing, to be, got out there for other people to be exposed to. I'm pretty much in a shadow, honestly. For most people, have no idea what I've been doing over the last 16 years. And that needs to change, because my intention in my heart was always to work with one another. It wasn't about promoting one's platform so much as the working with one another. But it's important to promote one another's platform, to be able to lift one another up, to be able to encourage one another, to be available to one another. It's a process and it's a co-creative effort. But that hasn't really been something I've been able to do. I tried to do it from the very beginning of this channel, and it's just been quite difficult to be able to try to do that. Most people are locked into what they're doing, and I'm not that way. I have more of the heart. I'm not making myself as better. Honestly, I'm not. But I have the heart of a pastor, so to speak. I was in Christianity for 27 years within this incarnation. And there's a lot of things that I learned of great value that I see especially within the New Age, that is amiss. There's some things that are really great, and there's some things that could be a lot better. And the accountability and being able to be of service to one another, not, selectively, because I find a lot of people have a tendency start getting a name or have been doing what they've been doing, and I understand they get busy, but they get locked into what they're doing, and they kind of surround themselves with themselves. And we need one another. and we need to help one another. So hopefully I can get in a position, and that's the goal. Really, I was talking about having a ministry. I'm not going to tell anybody what the name is. Daphne knows what the name is, but until it's established, I'm not going to mention anything more about it. But the whole idea is to be able to help one another. So if I'm in a position where I'm able to help other people and having given time to be able to do that, I will do that. In other words, I will promote other people. I will do other things as I'm able to do that so that we can collectively, co-creatively work together. And that's what's been missing. Okay? So it's important for these things to be moving forward, and that's really the only way that it gets done ultimately. We must do what we need to do and what we know to do, should I say, and develop it. It's a process, but once we have legs, so to speak, to be able to extend it over to others in an equal fashion, it's not about a brand, okay? The only reason for a name is to identify something, okay? Like the ministry that I would be looking or am looking to build at this stage has a name so people can recognize it, all right, and what it's about. But the whole objective behind that ministry is to connect and for us to work together collectively with equal and mutual respect. So it's a process, but that's really my heart. So the more assistance I can get, the more, momentum I can get in the right way, then it would allow me to be able to do that more. Because again, 16 years now, going back initially my first year within this channel, for this channel, was the purpose of developing community to be able to extend it boots on the ground, within your sphere of influence within your own physical community. That was the intention and still is. And it would be so much easier for us to do it collectively rather than one or two people trying to do it by themselves, That gets weary and very tiring, especially as the decades pass. And I don't have that many years in front of me. So anything that you can do and to assist in this regard, please do. Again, share, subscribe, like, comment, become a member of Patreon, donate. If you want assistance as far as a one-on-one with me concerning the subject matter that I talk about, and I'm completely open for that, okay? And if you can't afford it to be able to pay service for that and you need the help, I am available to you, okay? But understand that my time is really valuable, especially at this stage. So if it's something you truly need or truly would desire, and you don't have the means and by which, at least at this point, to be able to compensate me for my time and what I have to offer, I will make myself available to you for that for free, okay? But know that nothing's free. I'm just making myself available because this is what I've signed up for. But in order for me to continue, it's important it to be supported on all levels, especially at this stage. This is the pinnacle period in my life. So just saying, just want to be clear. All right, folks. Thank you, Daphne. Anything that you may be posting here within this stream, again, please, if you can, you copy and paste it and put it in the comment section for the video when the video is, after the stream is over with. Please do that. And if you can take the time to do that, just if it's something that you want to share, okay? But I'm asking you, if you could, please copy and paste the things that are important to you or you would like to share, like you did here. Rachel, Galactic High Priestess, Daphne, whoever, please, and those who have been listening that haven't signed in, please comment, share, like, Again, it helps the YouTube algorithm. This is what we're working with here. So thank you so much. Appreciate it. Blessings to you all. And I will talk to you some other time. All right. Again, contact me through the description, all the information.